I want to shut up anyway, so you can do your intro.
Awesome. Okay, I think we're live now. It's always a bit weird if we do live because, yeah, people are gonna watch this after it's recorded, I guess. But
Yeah.
what's going on, everyone? My name's Tom from Dreadlabs. Today I am here during a live stream. It is Thursday, the third of April, and together we're finally back together again after a year and a half almost, catching up with Jack from Studio AAA. How you, man?
I'm good, mate. It's good to be back on. I think it's been 13 or 14 months. I don't think it's been a year and a half.
Okay, that's what we're aiming for, right? Like we'll do we'll add 1 month every interval.
Yeah, I think the first one we did was in like July 2020.
Oh,
Um,
really?
and and then it's been like every year and 1 month since then, which
Yeah,
I think, no, that won't make sense because we wouldn't have got to March. But anyway, yeah, it's good to be back on.
I remember I think what was in I remember like us talking in winter here, but it's also like really sunny out now in the Netherlands. So that's maybe also why it feels like it's been that long. But
Yeah,
we have a couple of cool topics to talk about today. Also, if people are joining in the chat, we can also, of course, answer your questions. Probably, like I think the last time we reminisced about like the old design sphere, I guess.
like
Um,
2020 period.
yeah. Um,
Yeah.
in the meantime,
What's
I'm
funny actually
what?
What's funny actually is on the last time we did this, I said to you on I don't remember if it was live or not last time, but I said to you last time we did this that I didn't. It was something like I didn't want to do YouTube because what if YouTube then becomes my job, or I don't
Oh,
want
I
to
remember you
make
saying that.
videos.
Yeah.
Yeah, and after I said that, I thought that's so stupid that you just said that, and I remember thinking that is like a sign that I should be doing YouTube because why that's such a bullshit excuse to not do something. So anyways, since then I've done quite a lot of YouTube videos and like video content in general.
Oh yeah, I've actually saw it, and that's actually pretty fun. I think that's a cool premise because I've been out of the like design sphere
Yeah.
for about 8 months. I think ever as of April 2024, I basically took a long break until I want to say around around December I started working again, and I think the first video and stuff that came back online was in last December. So I kind of missed a
Yeah.
lot as well. And I also, well, I've seen some of your YouTube videos, but I kind of missed your whole video. Like, not returning to you did some videos in the past, I think, on YouTube, but like your
Yeah, I
actual
just never really took
YouTube
it
career, you know?
seriously before. Um, the thing, this is like maybe a bit of an overshare, but since like 2022 or 2023, I think I've been going to therapy. And one of the things I've learned at therapy is a sign I should do something is if I'm like scared to do it,
Oh
or
yeah.
not scared, but like if I think, oh, I'm not gonna learn this thing because whatever excuse,
Mm-hmm.
like that is a sign that that's probably the thing I need to be doing. And I've come up with this excuse to because it's safer to not do things that are
Right.
unfamiliar, or do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um,
Like stepping out of your comfort zone, I guess.
yeah, literally that. So it's funny because obviously you've been away and stuff, but I've thought about that conversation loads of times since then because that was the first time I caught myself doing it sort of live. Do you know what I mean? That was the
Yeah.
first time I said it and then immediately realized like, oh, I've done it again. um, whereas before I wasn't really aware of it. So yeah, obviously you've been gone, but I've thought about that loads of times since you took your break or whatever.
And how does it feel now that you've like actually started doing it? Are you happy that you're doing it, or are you still like kind of struggling with it, or?
I do like doing YouTube or video content. It's just you've got to get like over this thing of um sounding stupid or just messing up the video and being, instead of just closing it, oh, I'm just not going to do it. Like you mess it up and then just immediately start again. You'll know what I mean, or anyone
Hmm.
who's recorded themselves talking will know what I mean. Just like explaining something, explaining something you know to someone you know not on camera is easy, but explaining something you know on camera in a way that's not really boring, sounding interested, and looking like you're not bored is really
Very
hard.
difficult. Yeah.
Um,
It's
so
I think we even discussed this like in the last episode that we did where you said something like if you're not American you just kind of sound miserable if you talk English or something like that. Kind of remember this
yeah,
something. Yeah.
yeah, but they've got. We were talking about Duran, weren't we? Because like,
Yeah, yeah,
and I
yeah.
think Jesse Nyberg. But yeah, Americans have this like natural, just like, and they're just like naturally happy to be there. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
it
They
sounds
don't.
so much more even if like someone with an American accent talks like exhausted or something like that, it just sounds energetic compared to
Yeah,
like European or whatever.
I think it's just because we've been like brainwashed into. I don't know about you when you're younger, but here on TV when I'm younger, it's still The Simpsons, which is obviously American. All Family Guy and everything's American other than like the
Yeah,
news.
yeah.
Um,
The standard of talking in English is basically talking American English and the like the
yeah, for you, yeah.
yeah. But and that's also like kind of funny because if we talk to other people from Europe, it's like I get so many comments in my videos like, oh, are you from the Netherlands? And I'm pretty sure like French people or German people have the same thing, you know, like even if you're really good at putting up like an American accent or something like that, I think that still you can kind of feel it or something.
Yeah, I don't know, but I think it's just more in your head or in my head, to be
Yeah.
honest. I don't think it's real. Um, but yeah, anyway, the being scared of stuff thing
Mm.
since then, because YouTube, it's I've only got like 12K on YouTube, but I'm happy with that. Some of the videos have done pretty good. And it's a way to reach more people. So I'm happy that I noticed that I was trying to avoid this thing and then went and did it anyway.
Mm.
And since then, I've been good at, hopefully, I think, good at spotting, other things that I'm trying to avoid and just running at those things instead, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. That's a good thing, man. That's a good thing, and I think that's also is this also why you started like developing a plugin, or is this something that you had in
Kinda,
mind? Yeah.
kinda, because I've thought about, sometimes I don't know, you have an idea like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if there was like for example, the Dither Boy thing. You I'm not the first person to have that idea, obviously. Ditherin's existed. Ditherin's older than me, whatever. But
Oh, just for context for the
you
people
could
who
have.
don't know, by the way, Jack started
Sorry,
this
yeah.
amazing plugin for it's a standalone plugin, but you can use it in Photoshop, but you can also use it standalone, right?
Yeah,
And it's
it's
basically
it's
like an
standalone
instant
software,
dithering
yeah.
tool.
Yeah. So you people, creatives, whatever you do, will have these ideas and you sort of quite quick to dismiss them if you know enough to know that you don't know enough, if you know what I mean by that. So like before this, I knew enough about design and images to know that I didn't know enough to just make a software like,
Right, right.
and you you can use that and just very quickly dismiss the idea and be like, oh, never mind. But like I said before, those sometimes the things you dismiss or the things that you think, oh, I can't do that because XYZ, like that's the reason you should do it, because it's like,
Hmm.
this is so cringe, but it's like an opportunity for growth. Like you're
Yeah,
gonna learn some
yeah,
stuff about this new field, and you're gonna learn that you can do it or that you can't, or do you know what I mean?
yeah, yeah,
Um,
definitely. I think that's the whole satisfying part about like learning coding, for example. Like when I was
mm,
just starting out learning how to code, I was like, this is why am I even bothering trying this? And then if you even if you solve like the smallest thing, you're like, wait, I didn't know this before, and now I know it. You actually feel the progress, you know, like, and I think that's
Yeah,
this on a larger scale, you know.
yeah. What can be scary is when you're. I'm not saying that I'm like level 1000 designer, but I've been designing a long time. I'm 28 now, and I started this when I was like 13 or 12. So like Photoshop and all the terminology around images and stuff is
Mm,
I'm very familiar with it and comfortable with it. So the idea of going into a new thing that is totally separate from that is a bit like, well, I have to go do this thing where I'm going to start from zero. Like, why
yeah.
would I do that when I can stay in my safe Photoshop, Blender, After Effects, Illustrator, whatever?
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, you actually, if you go and do something, even it sounds stupid, even stuff like cooking, or if you just go and learn something totally new and separate, when you come back to the stuff that you know really well, because you've done like new learning, you've learned that you can still learn. And so it makes you better at your original thing, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Does that make,
Yeah,
I don't know if I'm just
it's
talking nonsense.
learning. Yeah, no, it's kind of like learning. If you learn how to learn, or and if you realize that you
Yeah.
actually can still learn new things, I feel like you will be looking at things with a more open mind in general. I think that's what
Yeah.
you're saying, right?
Yeah. Yeah. To be clear though, like full disclaimer, I you can go right now and download some of my code from my site for After Effects called Multi-Comp Editor. It's free, so like whatever. You can go and read my code if you want. That a tiny little After Effects plugin slash tool took me weeks to do, and it's not complex at all. It's really really basic. So my first attempt at Dither Boy was, I'd say, January 2024, and it was really bad. I've still got a screenshot of it somewhere. All I really managed was a threshold slider, you know, like the adjustment
Oh
layer
yeah.
threshold. That's all I managed, and it was really slow. So I contacted a developer who I paid, and they said they would start working on it. And I don't know how long these things take. I don't like. I'm new to it, so
Hmm.
I was like, "Cool, I'm gonna give you some space and come back to you on it." Um, Never heard anything back from the guy.
Oh.
So at that point, I was like, maybe it's not a thing. Like maybe it's not. Maybe I'll just leave it and take the loss kind of thing.
Mm.
Anyway, just to give, because obviously you mentioned that you've been learning to code and I talked about learning it. I don't want people to think that I coded the whole thing. So
Oh, you've been pretty open about it,
in,
right? Like you work together with a developer, I think, right?
yeah, yeah, but I just don't want to pretend that I didn't hear,
Mm.
or I don't want it to seem like I'm pretending that I didn't. Anyway, so then I think it's September or I don't know, anyway, August last year, I tweeted like one last thing, like looking for someone to do it with me. And I was just going to leave it if I didn't get anything. And the developer, his online like alias is Danny Void. And I thought, okay, I'll send him what I've got, I'll send him what I made, and maybe in like 6 months, 7, 8 months, we'll be able to get something done. And he didn't, I thought he'd need my help. I thought I could write some of the code or like, and he literally just like hit it out of the park kind of thing, um, based on my idea and some of my research and stuff. So yeah, that's where I'm at. I don't know. I just wanted to add that in because I don't think I could do Dither Boy from the ground up on my own.
It's awesome. I've briefly looked into like Photoshop plugins, for example. It's a whole different thing. If you,
Mm,
I just wanted to create like a plugin that would just run a Photoshop action,
right.
and then just like try to redesign the interface, I guess. But
Mm,
Boy, it's like it runs on its own, right? So it's not like the
yeah.
code that you use in Photoshop, maybe, or how does that work?
Yeah, so to be honest, I just didn't want if you buy Dither Boy now, and in fact, this is relevant. So I always give people the other explanation, but you used to make, or you still do make music, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
if you bought Serum
yeah.
10 years ago and then you quit and then you come back and you're not going to use Logic anymore, you're going to use Ableton. If you remember your Serum password, you've still got Serum.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
and there's no payment you made in the meantime. Ableton or whoever, whatever not VST, digital audio workstation you used, can't keep all your plugins hostage. So I didn't want, if you buy Dither Boy and then like you're just a hobbyist or a student or whatever, and you have to cancel your Photoshop, I didn't want you to lose it. Do you know what I mean? I
Yeah,
just
yeah, you
wanted,
can still do that. Yeah, that's
yeah,
awesome, man.
that's one of
Your
one of
lifetime access.
the. What did you say? Sorry.
It's a
Oh,
lifetime access, right?
lifetime
Yeah,
access. Yeah, yeah. One of the things that is, it's like the worst thing is you go from being a student where you've got Adobe apps at school or whatever, and then you graduate or you leave school or whatever, and then you lose all of your tools unless you can pay for them
right.
until you find a job. And that gap where you're not a student anymore, so you don't get it, but you're not employed yet, so you don't get it, and you probably can't afford it all. That gap is where normal working class people fall into a job that just any job that they had to get to pay for their rent or whatever bills,
Right.
and then they get stuck under like this ceiling of they can't get back into a creative job because they lost access to everything.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Anyway,
yeah, yeah.
I'm
It's
aware.
just
I'm
one
aware.
larger step extra that just makes it harder to get back into it, I guess.
Yeah, and I'm aware that dithering is not gonna like save the world, but it's what like one thing you can buy. You can buy it now. Don't touch it for years, and it'll still be there waiting for you.
I
Um,
think it's just one of those things that like it would just come in really handy. Let's say that you have one specific project where you need to do like a lot of dithering, and then you know maybe you'll leave it at first. Like I've had the same with Ink Market, Ink Lab from Black Market. Like I hadn't touched
yeah,
it in 2 years. Um, I think I bought like the version and then never updated it, but like, it still works, still
yeah,
holds up, and yeah, it's definitely like a niche within graphic design, but it's good to have, you know.
yeah. That I just quite like the idea that someone will buy it and they maybe use the first version, and then I don't know, you come back to it and it's still there waiting for you. What I mean is I like the idea of that for all these younger designers who don't have that with anything.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? Because
yeah, yeah, yeah,
me and you are old enough to remember that it's not always been like that.
yeah.
Um,
I remember like
I don't know.
buying Photoshop and just having Photoshop then.
Yeah, I never. By the time I could afford it, it was already a subscription service.
Yeah, yeah, me too, me too, me too. I just had the same thing with Cinema 4D. Like their annual price just went up like with $100
Do
or
you buy
something.
that?
Yeah, like
That is mental. Why didn't you use Blender?
because it's just I learned it quickly with Cinema 4D, and I never bothered
Yeah,
to learn Blender, but I every single day I keep asking myself, look, I just renewed my license in February, so I have a year left, and around like January I'm like, crap, I should have started learning Blender like 5 months ago, and now I have to renew the subscription already. But they actually got rid of. I'm not sure if they can. Anyone can correct me if I'm wrong, but you used to be able to just buy the current version of Cinema 4D, and then just I think it would be like three or four
Oh,
thousand bucks, and then you had that specific thing without updates, but you have it. And I
yeah.
think they
I
got rid of
thought
it, and
that
it's
was
only
the.
subscription now.
I thought, yeah, in my head, I thought it was 3,000 a year, but I've just looked and it's not. That's why when you said you were buying it, I was like, 3 grand a year.
No, no, no. It's I think
Yeah,
one,
it's
yeah,
a lot
two and a half
less.
grand like for a lifetime, but you would have the same version. And I'm so glad I
Yeah,
didn't do that because just before I considered doing that, they acquired like ZBrush, I think, and they
yeah,
have like a remesh engine which is way better than the initial Cinema 4D version. But yeah,
yeah. I thought you were paying 3 grand a year, so I'll take that back. 700 a year, I think it says here. It's a lot of money, but if you're making it, then
yeah,
yeah, who
it's
cares?
as long as I can keep like paying for the license by doing stuff with it,
Yeah,
I think I'm good to go.
yeah. I don't blame you.
Yeah,
But
man.
yeah, anyway, it's cool to have. I know it's only a little tiny thing, but it's cool to just have something that is just yours, and
Hmm.
that's it. Like you don't have to pay for it again. Um, yeah,
Yeah,
this might age
it's a
really
rare thing
badly
now.
if I ever do a subscription.
I'll just take this video down then. Or
Nah,
just
leave it up.
like dub over it.
Yeah, I might do on one day, but I definitely don't think I would want to make it the only way. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but I think it's like a kind of like a two-way street because I feel like a lot of companies started doing subscription modeling just to combat certain to combat certain things. Like if you hire more and more developers on it, the costs go up to maintain the program and keep up like the whatever you can do with the software. You know.
Yeah, I think the majority of people who will ever buy Dither Boy have probably already bought it.
Hmm.
And I'm happy to get the updates and stuff that because we've got a plan. I'm happy to take
Hmm.
the updates out of the money that those people initially
Right.
paid in the first however many weeks, um, and just take the loss kind of thing rather than want. I don't know if you're gonna buy it. I can't expect you to also fund the update. Do you know what I mean? Anyway,
Yeah. Yeah.
but yeah, I can't even remember what your initial question was. I was talking about like avoiding things and
Oh, right. Yeah, you
yeah,
got into like doing new things and get over that like fear of well, I don't know. I described it pretty well earlier in the podcast, but I already forgot how I said it. But
yeah, like fear of change and stuff. Yeah,
yeah,
comfort zone, all that. Yeah.
but yeah. So I was like, you don't have to answer this if you don't want to. But are you a YouTube partner already, or
Is that where you make money?
yeah?
I am, but I've not hit the threshold for it.
Ah,
So
right.
like I don't the thing is whenever I'm putting up a tutorial and it's already for Ditherboy, sorry I keep talking about Ditherboy, but
No,
that's
it's
what I'm
okay.
doing recently. When it's asking me, do you want to monetize this? I'm like, well, they've already bought it. So why I don't want to run like a mid-roll ad while you're learning how to use
Right.
software you've bought. So anyway, I don't monetize any of the video. I don't really. I don't know. I don't think I'm
It,
gonna make that much money from it. So I
no,
don't
it's also
really.
like not. I unless you're like having a million subscribers, I don't think it's even like a usable income. I guess you know it's nice to have, but
Yeah,
just from
I'll
YouTube ads alone, it's really hard to make a living out of it.
if I do anything that is not, if it's like a video that is not on something that already costs money, then I will probably monetize it. But
Right.
um, yeah, I'm more just like having this other way to reach people that isn't my Instagram, isn't my Twitter, and isn't my newsletter. Like that's the main
Hmm.
bonus for me.
So one thing that I'm always like confused about in YouTube, and I'm not sure, maybe you know this, but you can so if people don't know, if you upload a video, you actually have the option to say that you want to monetize or you don't want to monetize the video.
Yeah.
Um, so the way I understood it is that they last year or 2 years ago or something they changed it so that if you don't monetize it, the video will still run ads, but then it will just go to
Oh,
YouTube. But I'm not sure if that actually is the case because
okay. Well, maybe I'm gonna
I'm not
go
sure
and
if you can
monetize
actually
all
make
of
your
them.
ads free. And there was
Right.
like a whole controversy about this because there was like a lot of like small YouTubers were like, oh, but now YouTube's making money over us and blah blah blah. But I think the cost of running a server where they have to take a hold of all of the video content that's just like random stuff that people can upload for free just cost like a
Yeah.
lot of money. So I kind of get why they're doing this, but I'm not really sure how it works in terms of like the option to monetize it or not.
Yeah, I've no idea. But I generally just press no because I thought that it meant there would be like a mid-roll ad in the middle,
Right.
but I don't know. I've got YouTube Premium and I'm very sad to say that it is way better than AdBlock having YouTube Premium. Um, so if you're self-employed and you get to do business expenses, I would just recommend getting YouTube Premium, honestly.
Yeah, definitely. Like if I usually also watch a lot of like stuff on my phone, and I'm just like thinking like I just don't even want to know how many hours of my life I've wasted away waiting for a YouTube video to start. You know.
Do you not have it?
No, actually,
Oh,
I
you should
used to
get
have
it.
ad block when I was like younger, but once I actually was able to start monetizing my videos, I couldn't see the revenue tab in YouTube Creator Studio. So I googled like why can I not see it because I'm eligible, and apparently if you run an ad blocker extension on your browser, the
Yeah,
the revenue tab also gets hidden by it. So that's
that's
actually
funny.
pretty funny. Like, oh, you're blocking ads yourself now, and you're not gonna make any money with it. You know?
Yeah, yeah, I'd block everywhere else, especially on Twitter. On Twitter's awful now, but yeah, like I watch tons all day. I'm watching YouTube, to be honest.
Mm.
Um, so yeah, I tried it, and I was like, I'll just cancel it if it's no good. And then I cancelled it, and then I loaded up something on my phone, and I was like, what? There's a fucking advert. And
That's how
then
they get you.
since
You know,
then,
first hits free.
yeah, yeah, literally, but it is worth it. Anyway, I don't know if that's actually true, then maybe I'll start including the MP4 on the site, or I don't know what I'll do.
That's what I do. I have like a separate zip package with like video tutorials in it, with
Yeah,
when I'm
maybe I'll
using like
do that.
Photoshop actions or something. So Total
Maybe I'll do
Psycho is
that.
asking you something. What are you watching on YouTube? If you watch YouTube all day,
Um, I watch mostly like MMA stuff, to be honest, which people probably wouldn't expect, but uh, outside of design
just
and
put it in
like
the
creative
background when you're
stuff.
working, or
Yeah, I mean, I don't literally mean the fights. I mean like coverage of the sport. So like there's
mm,
Ariel Helwani. Do you know who Ariel Helwani is?
no,
Probably not. No,
no.
he's a journalist. He has a show about UFC and MMA, and so I watched that. Um, what else do I watch? I'm just looking through now. MMA stuff, and then like some games stuff. Obviously, I play a lot of games. Um, that's about it really. Which it sounds like not a lot, but there is. It's like the news cycle in MMA. You can watch MMA news 24/7, and there'll always be
I never
something.
really thought it was that big. Actually, I have no I don't know anything about it.
It's huge where you are.
Yeah, like I've known like some of my friends even like stay up at night to watch fights and stuff.
Oh
Like they,
yeah, yeah. Every weekend. Well, not so much anymore. It's a bit shit recently, but I think there's a promotion in the Netherlands called Octagon with a K.
I have no
Uh,
idea.
and they sell out like huge arenas.
In the Netherlands?
Yeah, yeah. Do you not know who like Rico
Oh, Rico
Verhoeven
Verhoeven.
or something? Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
yeah, he's like
However
a.
you post
Is he MMA or like boxing or what is he?
kickboxing, I think. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But they cross over and stuff. Like some of the people who fight in one will fight in the other.
Ah, right.
And interestingly, actually, right when I was starting to get into it, I met a designer from Leeds called, do you know Sam Thomas?
I think we've talked about him before. Is that can?
Right. Yeah, he does like merch and stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway, and he's been using stuff from my site on merch for MMA
Oh
people,
really?
but not just like anyone, like the biggest names in the sport. I would name them, but I know you won't know them. So, um,
Oh, that's
yeah.
actually
So,
super sick.
yeah, I know everything manages to find its way. Like, I try to have like a hobby that isn't design, and then it
Right.
sort of like finds its way back. But
That's
yeah,
actually super cool, right?
yeah.
Is he also big on MMA or is it just like a random client that he doesn't really know that much
No,
about?
he doesn't even really care. I've invited him round to my house to watch it with me, and he's like, "But yeah, sure. What time's it on?" And I tell him it's on at 4 in the morning, and he's like, "No way, I'm never gonna watch it."
Same.
Um, but yeah, if anyone who's watching this does know about MMA, Sam Thomas Design on Instagram, and I think that's his Twitter as well. I've got his business card there, but he didn't put it on there. But anyway, Alex Pereira merch, um, George Masvidal merch. He's done Jose Aldo merch. I'm trying to make sure I don't break any like NDAs. I think he did a Jake Paul one. You know who Jake Paul is?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I just found out he was doing like fights. That's how under the rocks I am. I mean, like I think he's done that. He's been doing it for years. But
I thought you were a really big Jake Paul fan.
what makes you think that?
No, I'm
It's
joking.
every day, bro.
But yeah,
He done that. He did that, right?
I think that's him. Well, no, yeah, that is him. Yeah. But yeah, if you're watching this and you like MMA stuff and design, you should go follow Sam because if you see MMA merch and it's good, it was by him. No questions asked. Like if it's good and it's in MMA, it was by him. Every other MMA merch line or anything like that that is done by anyone else looks awful. So yeah, go follow Sam.
Awesome, man. Awesome. So we're already halfway through. So I would probably like to keep this as keep this going as however long we want. But I'm actually in the
Yeah,
middle of like a lot of calls. So we have 30 minutes left, so it's great.
yeah, no worries.
So Mike is asking you if you remember the brand Tap Out.
Tap out. That was kind of before me. I wasn't really into MMA. I know what it is, but I never really watched. I don't know whether it was a show or a promotion or I've seen it on the t-shirts. But that was before I got into it.
Okay. So while we're waiting for Mike to explain what it is, yeah.
What do you watch on YouTube anyway, Tom? Like
what
other non-design stuff? What do you watch?
Lately I used to watch a lot of Pokemon videos, like challenges and stuff. And you're probably gonna laugh at me, but I watch a lot of Minecraft videos now.
Really?
Yeah, it's
like background noise, ambient stuff, or like actually watching it.
No, I'm just like trying to fall asleep to it mostly.
Yeah,
I just put
okay.
it on like, and they're like building these crazy, insane things in it, and I just like watch the first 5 minutes and then I just fall asleep.
And then you're out.
Yeah, and then like, but most of my YouTube feed is like Minecraft videos because of that.
Yeah.
What I also like listen to a lot of DJ sets, but the annoying part is of course that because I'm watching these sets, there's so much ads in between. So I think this is the final straw. I'm actually
YouTube
right
Premium.
After today, I'm gonna do YouTube Premium, man.
Literally, I hate having to recommend it because it's not only is it expensive, they don't let you buy a year ahead. I know this is probably quite boring for your podcast, but I would prefer to just buy a year and then forget about it. But they don't let you do that, which is really annoying.
It's like a monthly thing, or
have to do monthly. There's no way to not do monthly. I know,
think
annoying.
They're big enough to don't give a fuck about. Oh wait, I cannot swear on my own stream. To don't give.
Oh, I swore earlier. Sorry.
Oh no, it's actually I fine. I think I've never been monetized because of this. So, but yeah, I don't remember what I was saying. Oh yeah, they don't really care about like doing like an annual discount. Like smaller brands always have like subscription based, and then if you do annual, you'll get like a 17% discount.
Yeah, I just want to pay and forget, and then I don't need to. I hate the monthly stuff. That's the other thing. That's the other reason. Like with not to make it all about Dither Boy, but I hate having to think. Oh, I've got to pay my whatever bill this month. I hate that. Right. Just let me pay once or at least once a year. But anyway, this is like proper boring, so I'll shut up.
I am. So I've been meaning to ask you because like you've been way like I'm trying to get more and more into it, but you've been really connected with like the design space. Like you've never really been disconnected, and that's what I kind of always like found a little bit funny when we were talking. Like we were always talking about those things. Like I wasn't really active in the Discord, or I wasn't really keeping up with Twitter and stuff like that. But now I've actually been away for 8 months, and I've been like totally off the grid. Like I know I posted a couple of like Instagram stories here and there, but other than that I've just been out of it. I just did some client work, but yeah, mostly I've just been working on building a festival stage, so I've actually been outside most of the time. So I was wondering like what are some trends or what are some things that have been happening in the last year that I should maybe like look into, or maybe people that I should look into, communities, whatever? Anything that I've been missing
Um,
out on?
a lot of the discussion in the last year has all been about AI.
Right.
Um, yeah, I mean, especially on Twitter. With Instagram, to be honest, I'm not as I post on Instagram and that's about it. I don't really
Right.
ever scroll on Instagram anymore. Um, it's not as Instagram's not as fun as it used to be, so I'm not as like up to date on
Right.
there. But yeah, on Twitter, the trend and discussion has been massively about AI and um, image generation and
Right.
stable diffusion uh, and stuff like that. I don't know. Have you kept up with any of that stuff, or I don't know?
I got a couple of questions about what I think about ChatGPT 4.0 or something, or OpenAI 4.0. I'm not
Yeah,
sure what it's
yeah,
called. Apparently, it's supposed to be
yeah.
really, really good, but um, I don't know. I
Oh,
actually I did a sponsorship about like generative AI 2 years back, maybe three
right.
years already. I got a lot of shit for it, um, and I mean, like it's fine, like everyone can have their own opinion. But after that, like I started using it sometimes, like see how it works and see if it works for me. And um, even with some like lower end clients that I had, where they had to have like very specific stock images, I tried to use generative AI, and it just
Mm,
didn't work at all. Like I couldn't generate anything that looked properly, and I was like I cannot. To me, the things that I needed, they were just simply unusable. Maybe that changed over time.
yeah,
The last time I did it was like I think a little shorter than a year ago. But yeah,
yeah.
I never really was bothered with
It's
it, right?
changed. Like I think it would nail it now. Um, I don't know. The thing is, like, there's two groups of people. Well, there's more than this, but to simplify it, there are people who think graphic design is over. AI is like gonna take everyone's jobs, and there's people who think it's just the best thing ever, and they can't compete with it. Whatever.
Mm,
Um, and then there's people who like think of it as like, oh, I'm gonna use this to um build a business, or there's people who are like going all in on it rather than being like scared of it.
right,
Um, and I'm not really convinced by either uh, either of those stances
right.
yet. I honestly don't think AI image generation is like it's like it's a bit sad. It's probably really wasteful in terms of like energy that they're using
Yeah,
with like 15,000 GPUs plugged in some warehouse for you to generate a picture of you looking like you were drawn by some anime or whatever.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, but I'm not ready to like admit defeat to this new thing. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm
Yeah,
not
yeah,
ready to
definitely.
be.
I've had a lot of
Um,
people asking about like, oh, I'm scared that I'm losing clients, blah blah blah. Have you? Do you still do client work, by the way?
yeah, yeah, but I mean, it's it makes yeah. I'll just say yeah because I'm gonna I'm gonna get myself in trouble.
All
Yeah.
right. So have you lost any business to AI yet?
No, not to AI. I've lost business to just people being like that's a whole other conversation, but music people who just don't want to take any risk with visuals and they just want to play everything as safe as possible is what I lose clients to be honest.
Right.
Not AI, I don't think. But what I would say is if you're losing work to AI, right? All what you got to do with the work you got to do. Like I understand that, and I'm not. I was making minimum wage and taking £50, $50 commissions, so I get it, and I get that sometimes you just got to do the work at the price that you're
Mm,
offered. That's fine, and I get that. But speaking now as like my website is not just a little hobby anymore. and I can afford with a budget to commission people for things now, which is great, and I'm very lucky, and I appreciate the support that allows me to do that. But what I can tell you is I really care about my website. I really care about Ditherboy, for example, or I really care about Studio AAA stuff. You can see I've got the tattoo, right? I really
Yeah.
care about it. And there is not one part of my business, because I care about it, there's not one part of it that I would trust to AI.
Right.
None.
Right.
Like nothing. And I the feeling you get when you commission someone who is good at what they do and they also care, and whether they're charging you a lot of money or whether they're giving you a good price, the feeling that you get when they just nail it and you trust them that they've done it right for your business that you also care about is like, it's like magic. Like
Right.
someone's invested into you've paid them, but they've invested their work into your business, which is amazing. And I'm not the only person that experiences that. And if you've lost a client to AI, I that person don't care about their business. Like
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
you've lost a client to AI,
It's kind of like the same if you want
they
to like if you really want to spend only like $10 on a logo. Do you really care that much about your company if you're only willing to spend
yeah,
$10 on the logo for your company, which you presumably care so much about, right?
yeah, exactly. The only thing I've used AI for is she's not in the room right now. I pulled a weird face a minute ago because I pulled a cat hair out of my mouth. But the only thing I've used AI for is my cat was really ill in January, and
Right.
the vet we saw, I recorded the conversation that I had with the vet. And then when I got home, I played it back and I was searching like all the different stuff that he was talking about, and I couldn't find anything. So anyway, I asked ChatGPT about it, and it did give me some really really good information. But um, it's, I don't know, like research and finding things. And I'm sorry, I know I'm talking quite a lot now, but um the being able to describe a visual, for example, and say, can you tell me what this style is called, or can you tell me where I can find more of this,
Right.
is cool. That we didn't have that before. Like, trying to
Yeah. Yeah.
identify a style without being able to ask the artist. um but yeah, I can't really think of a use for AI where I would be happy to just put that into my thing that I really care about. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So there's one way where I actually use it, and that's I'm not sure if other people had this, but if I Google something like a simple thing, like how, for example, I have this little like well in my garden, and like
Right.
there's a lot of water that doesn't move, so it starts to
How
smell.
to store a dead body in a well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. For example, um, even if you want to just Google a recipe or something like that, like it's Google or any other search engine is so flooded with SEO written
Yeah.
uh, garbage that I'm not really ask. Even if I ask a question like how to dispose of a body in a well in my backyard, I get like I get so. Do you want to buy dead bodies? No, I don't want. I want to hide one. Like, okay, now this video is definitely
Yeah.
getting demonetized, but
The worst one is searching for recipes. Like,
yeah,
if you
I
ever
don't want to
search
hear
for
your
a
life story.
recipe,
I want to know how to
well,
cook
it's not
something.
that. I would genuinely, I know we don't like AI, right? I know we don't, but I would rather ask ChatGPT how to make whatever, because if I go and Google it, when you go on, like, or if you look up like a gaming tutorial and you have this little tiny box that is reserved for the article, and then there's three ads here, a banner ad here, a little video pop up. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's
Those are the
gaming.
worst.
Asking how to get this item in this game. You get like
Yeah.
50 websites with like a whole. First, what is this game? How do you play the
Yeah.
game? Where to find
Yeah.
all of these items? Where to find this specific item? I don't care about that. It's nice that you can SEO write it. It's probably even written by AI at this point as well. But
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
asking it in, it's just quicker. That's the only way that for me, it's like kind of like the new Google. But I try to, don't ask it stupid questions to to try to not be wasteful, but sometimes it's just not possible, I guess. But yeah,
Yeah,
that's
I
the only
feel
way that I
like
feel like it works for me.
I feel like there's a big generational divide between are you same age as me? You're 28, I'm 28. Are you
I'm
28?
29.
29, so whatever, same age. Feel like people, so you're like zillennial, so not quite
Yeah,
Gen
yeah,
Z, not quite millennial.
right,
Yeah. So um us and older, or you yeah, us and older ish have grown up, been told about climate change and been told about global warming and the ozone layer and whatever.
mm,
And then, like, politically, recently, that's not a discussion anymore. Like, basically, I feel like basically, politically, the world has just agreed to pretend that's not a thing.
right,
Um, and now, younger people, I feel like, don't they don't have like this. I feel guilty asking ChatGPT about my ill
right,
cat because I know that there's some warehouse somewhere having to use like 20 liters of water
right.
to cool GPUs down for me to ask something that I should have asked at the vet. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, 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 yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and like, but I feel like because younger people now, the world's moving more to the right, and those people don't want to teach kids about climate change
Mm,
or about that kind of thing.
right.
I feel like now probably like 13, 14 year olds are just using ChatGPT and not Google, like to
Yeah, I
Google
think so.
any and everything, probably. And I don't really blame them, but yeah, I just have
It's
this
a way,
voice in my
yeah.
head.
We,
I
we
have this
we
voice
grew
in my
up with
head
that
that's
urgency,
like,
you know.
yeah, I just have this like inner thing that's just like, oh, you don't need to, you don't need, you can find this on Wikipedia or, um, yeah, you don't need to, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I do feel, however, like as I grow older, but it might just be like the shift that you've been talking about. Like I do, I feel like I'm getting a little bit more numb about these urgencies. Like when I was like 6 years ago, for example, I was when the Amazon rainforest was on fire, I just felt like, okay, this is it. You know, we're gonna die.
Yeah,
And now when I hear some climate stuff, it's like, I mean, I'm lucky if we're even gonna
I
face
know what
that
you
point,
mean.
because there's a lot of more pressing things in the world going on right now, which I feel like are things to be more scared about, I guess. Which is
Yeah,
it's not even a good thing or something, but that's the way I kind of
yeah,
feel like it, and I'm also feeling kind of numb at this point on bad news and world problems and stuff. It's
same. To
just
be
so
honest,
much, you know.
I do you know Overset Text Ram
Hmm.
from Instagram? That's his username. Um, I was speaking to him about this not long ago, and when I was like 18, 19, 20, 21, I was like really all in on. There's a guy from the UK called Jeremy Corbyn
I know
who
the name. I don't
he's
know who he is, but
well, he's very like anti-corporation and anti-billionaire and very left wing,
mm,
probably a lot more left wing than me. Anyway, when I was that age, I was like I really believed in him and I was really excited about voting for him and I was like telling people to vote for him and I was convinced that he was going to win and solve the UK has so many problems and I was convinced he was going to solve them.
mm.
And then instead, he lost really badly. We got Brexit, and since then, I've just been like, actually, we can't have nice things. And since then, I've just been like,
Yeah,
I'm powerless. I don't know. Since then,
yeah,
I've
you're
just
kind of
been like,
accepting defeat or something. I felt the same
yes,
way.
yeah.
It's
Since then, I'm just like, there's nothing. I have no power. Like, I don't know.
dude, if you want to talk about like losing clients to ChatGPT, you know how many clients I've lost to fucking Trump? Like because
Really?
yeah, dude. Like I've most of my clients. I think it's around 50% of my clients are from the US, and
Right.
um, there were like a lot of big projects coming up this year, and a lot of them they were like quiet for a while, and it was during the time where um, I'm not sure how it is now because I don't really follow the news because of the whole thing we just talked about. But this was around the time where eggs started to cost $1 in the US. Remember, I think it's around February or something. They had like this
What
huge
cost a
inflation.
dollar?
A single egg.
Oh, an egg.
Yeah.
Right.
So like a
Okay.
dozen of eggs was like $12 or something, which in
Right.
the prices, the inflation here is crazy, but not that crazy. Um, and I'm not sure
Yeah.
how it
So
is in the
how is
US
that?
right now.
How has that cost you clients? I don't get it.
A lot of clients like I send out proposals and we almost agreed to start a project, and then all it got quiet around this time, and
Right.
um, and then all of them was like, okay, ever since like there's a huge inflation going on in the US right now, and we need to stop, like put a halt on like a lot of spending in the company.
Whatever it is, the
Yeah,
project. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
and
Right. I
usually.
thought.
Hmm?
Go on. Go on.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's usually like rebranding projects can be like postponed for a lot of companies, of course. So that's where these
Yeah.
companies and stuff, they were like, okay, we need to hold on with this, you know?
Right. I thought you were gonna say like exchange rate or something, but
Mm,
um no, I've not really had that. But one thing this is I feel like again this is not very interesting to talk about, but one thing I've had to do now is um I have to make it harder for people in the EU to buy things from my shop uh so that I don't have to pay tax in
oh,
an EU country. Um
right,
I will go into all the boring details. It's really boring, but like yeah, it just it it beat like the world like beats it out of you kind of thing by the
yeah,
time you're
yeah.
in your late 20s. Yeah, but the point I was originally making is Ram overset
Oh
text.
yeah, yeah.
He he is the opposite. Like he's really optimistic, and he has. I don't want to misrepresent what his views what might be,
Mm,
so I don't want to. I'm not going to say what they are. But he um has experienced kind of the same thing, especially being in America. America's much more right wing than Britain.
mm,
But he still thinks like that we're gonna be fine, and there is a way to fix all this. And I don't know. Yeah, I think the original thing we were talking about AI, weren't we? And like how like the guilty feeling of
mm,
generating an image, not only because you should be hiring someone, but also because it's like bad for the world and um like the broader view of what you're actually contributing to when you buy a chat GPT subscription.
right,
um yeah, it's like it is it's so much. You are the original, I remember now, your original question was what have you missed.
right.
So a lot of that, to be honest, a lot of like that conversation about should we use it, or is it gonna take your job, or
Mm, mm.
yeah, that kind of thing.
All right. I kind of glad to missed out on it, if that makes sense, because it so in some ways kind of stresses you out having to worry about it like a year.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
but
I've
you
had a
should
lot of
the
things to worry about during my time off, but like the exposure to everything on the internet and the overstimulation that you get from social media and stuff like that. It was nice to take a
yeah.
break from that, I guess.
Yeah, if anyone's watching this and if you're watching this and you're actually worried about AI or AI people or AI taking your job, right? Go on Twitter and look for this community page called Build in Public. I'm just trying to load it up right now.
Mm,
See if I can get a link for it. Getting into the whole software, excuse me, sorry. Getting into the whole software stuff. You find these places online where people are building software
mm,
or people are posting information about software or different coding languages and tools and libraries and whatever. And since I started looking into it, the whole thing has been flooded with these AI people. So if you can go on Twitter and find it's a community page, not a profile,
mm.
a community page called Building Public, and it is full of the most stupid and naive people that you can. However stupid you might be thinking they are, it's worse. And they're all in there talking about how they're going to use AI to build the next big thing. And
Just like all
like
any
the
of them else.
yeah, all of them think that they're on to the next big thing. Do you know what an API key is?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like you don't want an API key for anyone who's watching and doesn't know. You might buy the ChatGPT API key and you can put it in your software. So ChatGPT is in your software and they will bill you based on how many requests you put through your API key, right? There are people there's a guy in this building public thing who let his API keys public and he ran up like a $600,000 bill um on his stupid little idea because people were stealing his API. Uh, and honestly, if you just spend a few hours scrolling through this community page, I'll try find the link and I'll post it somewhere. Um, you will feel a lot better because the people using AI are not smart. Like
Yeah.
these people are your competition, and if you're willing to say graphic design is over, for compared to like the average AI user, you have nothing to worry about.
I also like to comment that Total Psycho said a little bit earlier in the stream. They're like, ChatGPT is really good for designing posts that already look like any other design post you've seen. But if you stand out,
Yeah.
it's not your tool. And I think that's a cool thing. Like in our niche, I think it will eventually like take over. But as long as you keep innovating, they cannot generate anything that hasn't been done yet. You know, like
Yeah,
in a sense.
yeah. If
And
you
also like you can use it as a tool, I guess, you know, in certain creative ways. But
I think that's fair, but the people who are using the whole AI as a tool argument falls apart if AI is the only tool you are using.
right,
Like you
right,
can't
yeah,
say it's a tool if, do you know what I mean?
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I kind of like close it off because I have like another intern call in four
Yeah, no
minutes.
worries. No
We'll
worries.
definitely do this. I'll always say this, but we'll do this more often because I really like enjoy the conversation. But what I want to say, like, it's I've read something about Rick Rubin, and he makes the really distinction between art and commerce. And
Mm,
once you start thinking about something, you're creating something, and you're thinking, how can I make money with this? How can I, you know, sell assets with it, or how can I, get streams with this piece of music, or how can I get YouTube views with this video? Then it's commerce. And if
yeah.
you're just thinking about the whole creation process and you just want to create, then it's art. And I feel like as long as it keeps being art, there's always a specific, maybe smaller, but a specific group of people who will appreciate it enough to let you be able to make a living out of it. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Because you've got to go, like I won't say like loads more on that. But the thing I spoke about earlier about RAM slash overset
Mm-hmm.
text, he's working on a video that is about that discussion.
Oh yeah,
And some of the stuff he's told me he's put it in the video. I think if you find that conversation interesting, then you should watch his video whenever
right.
it comes out.
I'm definitely gonna do that, man.
Yeah, keep an eye out for it.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us today, Jack. And sorry that I have to go
Thanks for
this
having me.
early.
No,
Um,
it's all good.
it was nice to catch up with you for a little bit, but I feel like we need to talk some more. So maybe we'll do this a little bit earlier. So maybe we won't
Yeah,
take
yeah.
15 months from now on. Um, and this will be staying on YouTube. So if you just tuning in for the live stream, you can just watch the live stream back immediately.
Yeah. We can get like an AI Jack and AI Tom to just fill in the
Yeah, yeah.
gaps between now and next year.
Is it commerce then, or is it still art? If we really think about how beautiful we would look and just
I don't
create
know,
it
man.
for the sake of creating.
My brain's hurting. I've been talking about Jeremy Corbyn on a freaking graphic design podcast.
Anyways, so if you want to check Jack out, the links for his website or no, his Instagram and his YouTube are in the description, but you can find his website
Thank
once you
you.
click on the profiles. Check out Boy because it's an amazing tool. And we
Thank
talked
you.
about this earlier, and I'm going to explore it maybe in a live stream or maybe in a future YouTube video. But yeah, I highly recommend check it out. And thank you guys for tuning in, and see you guys next time.